positioning the company so that we're building a utility. And it's up to our users to determine where that goes. So as it's relevant to users, as it's relevant to organizations using that, that really defines what the system is for. And that's the way to really build out scale and to build and to survive a fad. Because we have a technology that is open to any sort of usage, not just posting bands or posting songs or doing anything, you know, like the companies that you mentioned. But it's all up to the users how they create that content, how they steer it, and how they therefore steer the company as well. For me personally, I am burdened every day by email. It is a nightmare. I will go back this evening to 500 emails, which are basically to-dos that I have to work through. And this is a case where we've kind of lost the ability to keep a singular focus and to really you know, be effective. There are times when I just have to like give up and hope that the people resend their emails to me because I can't get through them all. So I think the interesting thing about a technology like Twitter is that you want to build technologies that are easy to get into and also easy to get out of. So what we did with Twitter was we didn't create a social network around it. It was more of an information network. So it's completely recipient controlled. I send an update, and the people who really care to, you know, receive those updates in real time get them. But at the same time, I have 140 characters. So if you miss that communication, it's fine. Also, I'm not directing the communication at anyone in particular. I'm more or less writing on the wall. So that's one way to manage the overwhelming aspect, is to loosen the ties, loosen the binds. In terms of focus, I think again you want to minimize the canvas size, and you know this is distracting because you're seeing a full stream of these updates, and I have no idea what they're saying. And I imagine that people are there's a peanut gallery here, I'm sure. But this is what we enable. So so focusing communication is really about focusing the medium and constraining the medium, in my mind. And you have to know when to stop listening. Again, you have to be a good editor. You have to take all the inputs. But you have to pick a few that are worthwhile, and then expand on those few. Well, Twitter doesn't make any money right now, so it has no revenue. In fact, we lose a lot of money. But this is a choice and a risk that we took because we're building a network. We're building a utility. And people build products on top of utilities. People build value on top of utilities. And in some cases, this value is isolated to a certain demographic. And in some cases, the value speaks to the entire network. So we raised money to be patient enough so that we could recognize when there's a model that speaks to the entire network. Because that model will not only get everyone using it, not only will it sustain the company as an entity, but it will also sustain the technology and Twitter's existence in the world. So the company right now, today, is trying a bunch of different models. And we're noticing a bunch of different patterns and usages that commercial entities are using, that people are using, that organizations are using. There's obvious models around that. You're all familiar with Google. We have a real-time search. There's obvious models around that. But the interesting thing about Google is that Google also, for 5 or 6 years, 5 or 6 years, had no revenue. It waited, it tried a bunch of things, and it built a revenue model that spoke to what the product was doing, which was returning search results. The brilliant thing about Google is that I search on Google for iPhone, I'm expecting to get information back on the iPhone, and I fully expect to get ads targeted on the iPhone because I'm asking for that information. It's not being pushed at me when I'm in a completely different context. The name is interesting. I first called the service status. You know, I'm a vertical industry dispatcher, so I'm boring. We had some very creative people on the team. We wanted to evoke a physical sensation with the name. And when you received a message on Twitter, a lot of this was focused on SMS back in 2006. So when you received a tweet, your phone would buzz, it would vibrate. So we immediately thought of the name Twitch. It doesn't really inspire great imagery or love for the product. So Noah Glass, one of Odio's co-founders, was extremely creative at naming. And he took the word Twitch, and he searched the dictionary, the Oxford English. He obviously searched the TWs, went down the line until he found the word Twitter. And the word Twitter, as defined by the Oxford English Dictionary in 2006, was a short, inconsequential burst of information, chirps from birds. And we're like, that's it, that's where we're at. And this, I mean, the great thing about this name is that it's inspired so many other words. It's just easy to relate to. For the computer scientists out there, there's a famous quote. There are two things that are difficult in computer science: cache invalidation and naming. And naming is extremely difficult because it really carries the brand. A lot of our success is because of how good the word Twitter is.